chores and stay a while. She said, come me with a smile. Told her I was not that kind of boy. I was just a boy of teens. It was yesterday, it seems. Walking down the street after a dance. By the corner stood a girl with her hair all up in curls. Her motion to me wasn't hard to grasp. Well, she had things I'd never seen, and Lord knows I was pretty green. She motioned me to follow her sweet path. She said, honey, come upstairs. I knelt and said my prayers. As I closed the door, here's what she said to me.
Come here, you sweet thing.
Drop your pants next to the bed. That's just what the woman said. The look upon her face was mighty coy. Drop your drawers and stay a while. She said, call me with a smile. Told her I was not that kind of boy. Well, I knew not what to do, so I just removed my shoes. After all, I didn't know her well. I was nervous as could be, but she smiled so patiently. The room was cool, but I was hot as hell. Drop your pants next to the bed. That's just what the woman said. The look upon her face was mighty coy. Drop your drawers and stay a while. She said, call me with a smile. Told her I was not that kind of boy. Morning lifted up my eyes. Across my fingers gave a sigh. All at once came someone to the door. A voice pounded at the air. I know my daughter's in there. She said calmly as my bare feet hit the floor. Drop your pants next to the bed. That's just what the woman said. The look upon her face was mighty coy. Drop your drawers and stay a while. She said come me with a smile. Told her I was not that kind of boy. Well, I told her I was not that kind of boy. Well, I told her I was not that kind of boy.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the
go. Time us to get this show on the road. Off we go. It is time. Time again.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress plugins A to Z, not Z.
It's episode number 13 of WP Plugins A to Z Unplugged with some new plugin Repo Reckoning Fresh Blood or Fresh Hell. Off we go. WordPress, the king of content management systems, powering the web with over 80,000 plugins to choose from. How do you sort the junk from the gems? Welcome to WP Plugins A to Z, where we've been keeping the pulse of WordPress alive for over 16 incredible years. Join us every week for an unrehearsed, real talk breakdowns of the latest and greatest plugins, developer and community member interviews. Some weeks, Amber and I team up to dig in. Others, I'm flying solo, unpacking WordPress news, demoing a standout plugin, or sharing tips to power up your site. No scripts, no fluff, just the good stuff from A to Z. So plug in and let's get rolling. Oh, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the other brewery overlooking beautiful southern Vancouver Island. I'm John Overall, and I'm all by my lonesome once again, creating a weekly podcast that is challenging some weeks to pull it all together, but this week we've managed to come up with a few tidbits here. You know, we got a plugin review, we got some discussions about new plugin repos, a little bit of other news and miscellaneous stuff, a couple of security things, some coding tips, and a whole lot more as we roll into everything that we really need to do. And, well, just basically keep this podcast live, letting people come in, find their WordPress stuff. Also, it's a great place where you can come in here whenever I'm doing the show by myself. If you go to wppluginsa2z.com/live, you can find the link there to join me on Google Meet if you would like to throw your voice into this mix also. Because the Meet link changes every week, and it only appears on that page during this show. Other than that, it does not exist. So come check it out. All right, well, let's dive into things. Let's see, where did it go? Uh-oh. Where did my show notes get messed up? They seem to have. All right, well, then let's just dive into dealing with the plugin review. I seem to have that at the top of my thing here, although I thought I had something different. But, all right, what we've got here at the top is a plugin review. Now, the plugin I'm reviewing this week here is Dashboard Navigator. This was sent in to us, and it was sent in to us, I believe, by Ollie himself. And this is a very useful plugin if you've got a lot of stuff in your WordPress dashboard. What it does for you is once it's activated, it sets up a box, a search box in your dashboard for searching through all of your dashboard content. In particular, it helps you find your menu items because, as we know, as plugins start to exceed 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, you get a lot of items in your dashboard menu. And they can get hard to find. They should be alphabetized, but they're not. You can control which ones go where, regardless of alphabet. It's a setting inside the plugin as to where it's placed in the hierarchy, and it's just, it becomes a bloody mess, basically. And, you know, if you're in the same website all the time, you eventually learn where they're all located. But if you're doing client websites, jumping from website to website, then, hey, you get lost. You forget which ones are where, and they may have different plugins than what you're used to. So this one here, very straightforward and simple to use. A very nice plugin. Once it's set up, right at the top, it goes search dashboard menus block, and you just start typing in the name of your menu, and it pops down all the menus that have that name in it, and it allows you to find what you're looking for quite quickly. You know, if you want to find out more about this plugin, he's does all the work over on GitHub with this plugin. So go check him out there. Go check out some of his other plugins and other repos he's got there. He's got 60 going on, so he's a very busy boy. It is just a fantastic plugin to get the show started today. Great plugin. Go check it out. It is the Dashboard Navigator, and I give it a 5 Dragon rating. Hey, Ryan. Nice to see you at the show. All right. Let's go. I had a whole bunch of content here. Here we go. I found it. It got moved in my show notes. My show notes I've been reorganizing them for better flow, and you can see that's working out really well for me. Extremely well. All right. We've been talking off and on for about a year, a little more than a year now, since Matt went on his tirade and his little bit of drama with WP Engine. You know, I've got in the show notes a quick background on Matt's thing and what he did and what brought this about. But what it's done is it showed us that the repo was controlled by one person and his whim and his irritation, and he gets pissed off, he just shuts someone down. Now, small people, well, they'll be impacted, but not nearly as bad as like when it happened to WP Engine. So what started was numerous other types of repos and ways and distribution of WordPress plugins has started to come about. Now, we don't have a full-blown alternate repo system yet where the plugins are vetted, so you're pretty much on your own. You just got to trust that where you're getting them from is good and valid, and all of those things come together. You know, the FAIR project started. They lasted about 8 months, and they couldn't get buy-in by the big hosting companies, so it's gone off to the side now, and I can't remember who's picked it up. Somebody's picked it up to be used in another way. You know, we've had Shift WP is tracking many of these shifts. We've got the repo, an alternative plugin directory from GitHub. But in particular, what brought this attention to me was Troy. Troy is an alternative. I need to translate that to English because I don't read French. It is a website in French. It's the Troy project. And the Troy project is about making it easier to have your plugin hosted on your own and make it so that people can go in and do the updates and keep it all up there. It's created by CyberWazier. You can find him over on Twitter. Here's the article that he sent out that got me working with this. And it's working out where the .org directory no longer the only option. Well, that's already occurring. But as more and more of these come together, sometime in the next year or so, I predict that we will have something stabilized and another central authority step up. Don't know who, where, how, or why, but it will happen. Mainly because people don't want to be at the mercy of the beck and call of a single person. Now, I seem to recall something in this article here. No. Okay, it's not in here. I had something. There was something somewhere where there are these offshoot repos that are doing mirroring of the WordPress repo. And those are alternate places where they will be. Now, they may start at the WordPress repo. They go to these mirror sites. You can get it from the mirror sites, and maybe the mirror sites will be able to pick it up. On the whole, this is basically something that is coming about due to Matt's thing, his fit, when he threw a fit almost 2 years ago, year and a half ago now. But what this is doing is this is making it so that we have to rethink the ecosystem of WordPress. WordPress is really a huge ecosystem, and for almost all of its, well, pretty much all of its 20-year history, it was the vast majority of the plugins and themes were dependent upon the WordPress.org repo. Now, yeah, there were granted a few other plugin directories out there, such as Envato when they were doing really well. There's been a few, I've seen a few come and go. Many of them made it more difficult than it should have been to get to the things. Now, of course, the biggest key in this system that WordPress created from the beginning was the freemium plugins. You know, the free plugins, and then they started becoming premium plugins, and then the freemium plugin, the in-between. Now, I can go back in the history of this show when I talked about the rise of the freemium plugin, because in the beginning of WordPress, we had the donation system. And the donation system, mediocre, worked. Because people don't like to pay for stuff. They don't even like to donate. You know, nobody even donates to this show. It hasn't happened for years. But what that is by having a system where it's dependent upon donations, that never happens, and a person can only work for free for so long before they have to go do something for money. Now, in the beginning, I remember when we had the rise of premium, pure premium plugins in the beginning, and people pish-poshed them. I'm looking for a better word than that. Don't have it. But they gave the people creating the premium plugins grief, saying it won't work. But many companies turned it into a long-term business, one of them being like Gravity Forms. I've been using Gravity Forms since they were a brand new company, and they started out pure premium. They did not go to freemium route. But they had better marketing, I guess, or they actually solved the problems for a premium price that the free versions weren't solving, is more along the lines. Because I had problems from the free ones, and Gravity Forms solved those problems, and okay, here's the fee. All right, I'll pay the fee. So we've got that, and that's a lot of the premium. The freemium ones, though, nowadays the market is super saturated in just about every niche in WordPress. So what you have to do is you have to get yourself in front of people. They have to take a look at your plugin to see, will it provide even a segment of what I need versus, you know, I pay for a premium. Yeah, okay, I got 14 days, but unless you're actively developing this project, which is why you need the plugin, but truth is most developers have multiple projects going, and they switch them out every few days to work on a different project. And with 14 days, that means you have to stay focused, and then you have to run all your tests, and you have to look for your edge cases to see if it's going to work. That takes longer than 14 days. You know, always. Even 30 days is often not enough to fully test whether a premium plugin is going to give you everything you need. So you're risking money that you're not going to get back unless you fall within their refund window. And even then, you've got to ask for the refund and hope it's a company that is actually going to give you a refund, whereas most of them do. There's a handful of them that, bugger off. Then you have to go through the chargeback process, which is another pain in the ass. So, at any rate, we've got the rise here of the other repos is going to give other opportunities for plugin developers to do this. I've featured a couple of plugins that can be installed on a WordPress website where you can go search the GitHub repo, because GitHub truly is a repo. Go search GitHub for WordPress plugins. It's a very cool plugin. I'd have to dig out which episode it was in, but it worked very well because there is a lot of WordPress plugins on GitHub. Some of them in the half-complete stage, so you want to be careful. GitHub is a soup of stuff that may or may not be of value, but there is a lot of value there. Plus, there's a lot of premium developers that do their code work over on GitHub. And some of them even have bits and pieces of their premium versions open for the public. So if you're into coding, you can get a hold of their code there and then you can fork it off or play with it. But that's only for the hardcore person. At any rate, this is something that is coming. More so than when I started talking about it just over a year ago. It's going to continue on, and we're going to see more and more of this as time comes on. All right, let's see, where were we? I have to keep the show notes in order instead of having to scroll up and down. All right. Okay, we've got that cart. Let's go wander back up here. All right, let's talk about a little bit of WordPress news. Best WordPress news I've heard this entire week was that real-time collaboration is not going to be shipping in WordPress 7.0. Matt finally made a decent decision, from my perspective, anyway. He has decided that it's not going to ship because they've got all kinds of problems in here. Now, there was something I had looked up earlier. Where was that? Because it ties right into this. Let's see if I stuck it down here. Something that ties into this. One of the biggest reason why they are not shipping it is because of the race condition and why it was causing problems. Now, I only had a vague notion of what they meant. And Bovette over here on Twitter put out a really good Twitter article explaining race condition and the problem with it and breaking it down into simpler, more understandable terms. So even us hardcore people on WordPress can understand it in English. So at any rate, go check that article out. The link's in the show notes. But back to this having this not in the core when it ships is a good thing, because we don't want something that's going to create all kinds of grief for WordPress with the next release. Here's another nice article on it from WP Content. Now, like I said, it was Matt's decision, so hey, I applaud Matt for making a great decision. We appreciate it, Matt. We don't want to have another Gutenberg shoved down our throat. I understand, though, eventually you're going to cram this into the core as soon as you can solve the problem. I'm not sure it's a solvable problem now that I understand where the problem lies. So you have to go read the article from Anne to understand the problem of the race condition. I'm not sure it's going to be solvable for WordPress, mainly because of how WordPress works. So that's a very interesting one, and it is good news for all of us out here in the WordPress world, with version 7 getting ready to drop in our face in about 9 days. It's due out for May 20th, I believe, is when it's expected to hit the floor. All right. I've got a coding tip in here, of course. Funny all that, I pulled it off of Reddit, and I've dropped the code into the show notes for people. For those that are still playing with Elementor and working with the accordions, keeping them open or closed by default. If you're having problems with it, this is a way to override some of the stuff. Now, the settings in Elementor are supposed to work, but they don't always, so this could help you solve your problem. Just go check it out. It's just a simple add a script to your to an HTML widget on the page you need the thing to appear, and this script fires. You just got to make sure you're best to stick the script up above the accordion. So at any rate, just a nice simple tip there. And as I've been doing more and more coding work and bits and pieces and tossing more snippets into websites in the last year and a half, I've collected a few, and in more upcoming shows, I will start bringing those snippets, and I'm going to collect them over on WP Plugins A to Z into a particular page for code snippets. We've got a lot of historical record stuff that is being surfaced here on WP Plugins. As I've cleaned up this website and made it more functional, I'm making it more accessible for stuff that we done years ago and it's been buried but is still relevant today. So I'm resurfacing it little by little. Week after week, more improvements are happening there. Okay, let's talk about the weekly featured promotion. This weekly featured promotion that I'm doing for the show, I'm not getting any affiliate links for it. I'm not getting any kickbacks or payments. They didn't even contact me most of the time. It's just something I stumbled across and I went, you know what, this looks kind of cool. I think the WordPress community needs to know about it. And I will continue these week after week. Sometimes I'll run them a couple of weeks in a row. Other times they'll be here for a week. This week here, it is Well Played WP. And this one here is a membership plugin site. And they've got 22 plugins, useful plugins here, built by Marcus Burnett. You can find him over on Twitter at Marcus Burnett. And this looked like a pretty decent thing. It's got a nice selection of WordPress plugins, a library, font awesome dashcons, loading page countdown, short code galaxy, Elementor plugins, advanced loop editor, and that one might be useful. I didn't even notice that one. A loop query table. If you're really into Elementor, these probably could help you out quite a bit. It might be useful for me. Trust badges, test payment gateway, thanks for your redirects, and a few more. So a very useful site with one membership. You get access to all 22 plugins. Go check them out. Instant access. They're built for WordPress builders who want practical tools under a single license. And Marcus Burnett puts out a lot of really great stuff on Twitter. So go check him out and support him over on Twitter if you're there. Twitter X. Sometimes I call it Twitter, sometimes I call it X. It all depends on my day. All right, I do not have a second plugin today, which is a good thing. I tried to get one. Well, actually, I had one, but I didn't feel like dumping it in. I thought I'd carry it over to my next show. All right, let's see what we got here. And I know I have more. Oh, a little bit of SEO information, a couple of articles here. And you're looking for dealing with your web vitals for WordPress. Here is an article from rocket.net. Come on. There we go. From rocket.net, it is an article for working out and tidying up your core web vitals for WordPress in particular. So it's focused on what you want to do. It tells you a bit about the vitals, the 3 metrics, how hosting shapes it. And if hosting's your problem, your only option there is to change hosting providers. You could try out WP A to Z host.com. We're a very affordable boutique WordPress hosting firm. Other than that, you can go check out some of the other thousands of hosting providers out there on the internet. There's a lot of great ones out there. They talk about the hardware and software approach, themes and plugins, a hidden layer of stuff, what you can and cannot do. There's just a lot of tips in here. Some of them are actionable. Some of them are not actionable unless you have access to the server itself. So something to check out. And for more, you can go check out rocket.net over on X and find out more about those guys there. Let's see, what else have I got here? That's really it. I don't have as much as I thought I had. I thought I had way more, but that's the way it works. I still don't have anyone joining me over on Meetup, on Google Meet. But hey, one day it'll happen. I'll keep doing it. I don't care if anyone shows up or not. It doesn't cost me anything extra. I just got to monitor another screen. All right, let's see here. What else have we got? Okay, that's pretty much it. We talked about the race condition for WordPress and the upcoming interviews and available times. All right, we don't have any interviews through the month of May. I've closed those ones down, so you will hear my sultry voice for at least 2 more episodes through May. Amber should be back in 2 weeks' time. She was supposed to be here today, yes, but circumstances, life involvement, things that get in the way had made it so she couldn't be here today. So, and of course, I'll be doing my regular show next week, so she'll be back in 2 weeks' time for the regular WP Plugin Z to Z show. We do have available interview dates for June. You can simply go to wppluginztz.com, go down, book an interview, and then just go down to the calendar and switch it to June and book any of the 3 dates available, the 1st, 15th, or the 29th, and then go into July and book them for the 13th and 27th. And there you go. That's what's available right now. June and July are open for booking, and that's where we're at. Once we get through May, we will open up August for booking. And whatever interviews we have booked by the end of May for June, those will go. Otherwise, they will close down. All right. I've added a new one for the section in the show notes for other shows and places to go get WP info and training. I keep forgetting about these guys. These guys have been around almost as long as me. WP, or Kitchen Sink WP. I always want to call them WP Kitchen Sink. Kitchen Sink WP. They're at episode 637 of their podcast. And they're continuing to do this and continuing to put out shows on a regular basis. And their shows are quite good. And what a resources. And they've just got podcast interviews and other miscellaneous things you can sign up for. Dustin Hartzler. I should know more about him. And there's Marcus Burnett again. So yeah, he's all over the place in Twitter and the WordPress sphere. So go check out his thing that I talked about. So that pretty much wraps it up. We've had a very quiet day on the comments. So hey, while you're there, if you're liking the show, make sure you hit that like button there. I'm trying to get people to do that. Remember, this is a value for value show. Time, talent, and treasure to support this show. Time, get out there and plug people in. Tell them about WP Plugin Z to Z and all the great things we're doing nowadays and how much more content is available from our website and more that is coming as I consolidate things onto this website that we're over on johnoverall.com or other places that I've had this content. I've had a scattered life in WordPress, and who knows, I may even pull in I did a podcast for a while called WP Medic. That's what I did. I did a podcast for WP Medic for a while. Those might be entertaining to bring to the show and listen to some of the ancient stuff I used to do. But with all of that, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for being here today. It's a little bit shorter of a show, but hey, not the end of the world. I'm going to let my girl take us on out of here, and we'll be back with a little bit of final music right at the end. So off we go.
Reminders for the show. All the show notes can be found at wppluginztz.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A to Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by you, the developers, because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginztz.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show through your favorite podcast app. You can also watch the show live on YouTube at WP Plugins A to Z And remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. You can also follow the show on X at WP Plugins A to Z. John can be reached directly through the website wpproa2z.com or email him at john@wppro.ca. Amber can also be contacted through the website at wpproa2z.com or email her directly, amber@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.
Don't claim to know your story, don't even have my own. In the search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. They went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Preacher man discovered, passed down from saint to sage, like a kind-hearted lover who's been lost on this stage. Went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Crossroads, sitting doing time. Junkie and the jigger, just seen who done the crime. Captain pulled the trigger, guess who's doing time? They went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, is he yours or is he mine? Don't claim to know your story, don't even have my own. In our search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. We're missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Devil's at a crossroads, Joker's doing fine. Just sitting doing time.
Alrighty, folks, that's all we got now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Oh my god, that is amazing!
Oh no. Obviously we just lost the satellite feed.